Hello and welcome to the presentation, What You Need to Know Before Running for Election for the CASAPO Board of Directors. Let's talk about how you can get involved. Running for the board is a noble endeavor and we're grateful that you're considering it. This presentation will provide you with the essential information about the college and the role of the board member you'll need to get involved. Let's start with the role of the college. The college's mandate, simply put, is that it protects the public interest through regulating audiologists and speech-language pathologists. The primary way the college protects the public is by regulating audiologists and speech-language pathologists. And in contrast, the associations protect the public by advocating for services. It's common for people to confuse the role of the regulator with the role of associations. So here are some of the key differences. Regulators are accountable to the public and the government. They protect the public by regulating their registrants. They have mandatory quality assurance programs for their registrants and mandatory complaints processes. Associations are accountable to their members. They protect the public by advocating for services and provide quality improvement opportunities. They do not have a legal complaint process. Core functions of the college. Our core functions are specified in the RHPA and they outline how CASAPO regulates the professions. We set registration and practice standards, provide support to ensure quality care is delivered safely and ethically, remediate if practice standards are not met, restrict or deny practice of those who cannot be remediated, and inform the public that our professionals are regulated and ensure the public has confidence in the professions. The Regulated Health Professions Act 1991, or RHPA, also specifies that each college must form corresponding committees for each of the core functions, and these mandatory committees are referred to as statutory committees. Committees. Serving on the board involves a significant time commitment. All board members are typically appointed to 3 or 4 of the 9 committees each year, and the board meets 4 times per year for a full day, and then each committee meets anywhere from 2 to 7 times per year depending on the committee, and they are all virtual. And of course, time is needed and compensated for preparation of all committee meetings and board meetings. Committees generally have one or both of the following functions. They recommend policies, processes, standards, regulations, and/or bylaws of the college to the board. And they make decisions relating to individual registrants or applicants. The statutory committees are the Executive Committee, which is elected by the board, the Registration Committee, Quality Assurance Committee, Inquiries, Complaints and Reports Committee, Discipline Committee, Fitness to Practice Committee, and Patient Relations Committee. In addition, like many other colleges, CASAPO has identified other key functions that are not specified in the RHPA, and those are the Finance Committee and the Practice Matters Committee. Let's talk about the other responsibilities of board members. The Board of Directors of the college also has fiduciary duties. So in essence, board members must always act honestly and in good faith and in the best interests of the organization. So for example, identifying and declaring conflicts of interest. Fiduciary duties. Decisions of the board must ensure that the organization is financially stable, core functions are not placed at risk, and a strategic plan is developed and monitored. So the activities of the board include things like maintaining confidentiality and declaring conflicts of interest, approving budgets and audited financial statements, respecting and promoting diversity, equity, and inclusion, ensuring identified risks to the college are mitigated, hiring and evaluating the registrar and CEO, approving policies and procedures related to how the college runs, evaluating the operations and competence of the board itself, guiding the public awareness and registrant engagement activities, and monitoring the strategic plan. The board and college staff. The board is the decision-making body and is made up of 16 to 18 members, 8 to 9 elected registered professionals representing 6 districts, 6 to 7 public members who are appointed by the Ontario government, and 2 selected academic members from a faculty of audiology or speech-language pathology of a university in Ontario. Simply put, the staff of the college implement the decisions made by the board. The relationship between the board and staff can be described as follows. The board steers the boat, and the staff do the rowing. The role and responsibilities of a board member. They should have good communication skills to be effective contributors and an understanding that the goal of CASAPOL is to serve and protect the public by regulating the registrants. Members should be aware of the mission and vision of the college and its regulations and bylaws, all of which can be found on our website. All members of the board and non-board members have general responsibilities when participating in any board activity, which include the following: preparing for and attending meetings, confidentiality, conflict of interest and bias determination, speaking with one voice, and board members must always act honestly and in good faith in the best interests of the public. Elected board members hold their positions for a 3-year term. Each professional member may serve a maximum of 3 terms for a total of 9 consecutive years. Board members also serve on committees that consider projects that further CASAPO's strategic goals. Enhancing registrants' practice occurs by providing your input on standards of practice, determining if the conduct of a registrant meets the standards, guiding initiatives that support registrants, providing a direct connection to patients. But as a board member, your role and work with the college does not involve advocating for services or for individual registrants, determining or evaluating service delivery models, or any other activity that does not relate to how the professions are regulated. You'll also need to respect the confidentiality of the work you will be involved in, and that includes confidentiality around registrants, as well as the discussions you may engage in while developing policies, resources, or standards. So essentially, you have to take off your professional hat and put on your regulator hat. Newly elected board members undergo an orientation session by staff to prepare for board and committee meetings. And to find out more about how the college operates, please review our Guide to Governance Principles and Practices found on the board elections page on the website. Let's talk about the election process. CASAPO's electoral districts include Eastern Ontario, Central Ontario, Southwestern Ontario, Northwestern Ontario, and Northeastern Ontario. District 6 includes all 5 districts. Before a nomination is put forth by yourself, which is self-nomination, or by a peer, you must ensure that you're eligible to run for election. A registrant is eligible for election to the board in an electoral district if the member is not in default of payment of any prescribed college fees, is not currently and has not been for the previous year an employee of the college, has not been the subject of any disciplinary incompetency or incapacity proceeding in any jurisdiction, not have been the subject of any professional misconduct, incompetence, or incapacity finding in the last 6 years, hold a current certificate of registration which has not been revoked or suspended in the past 6 years, holds a certificate of registration that is not subject to a term, condition, or limitation other than prescribed by regulation, has not been required to appear before a panel of inquiries, complaints, and reports committee to be cautioned, or to complete a specified continuing education or remediation program in the last 3 years, is past a period of 6 years since complying with all aspects of an order imposed by the Discipline or Fitness to Practice Committee, has not been disqualified from the board or a committee in the last 3 years, agrees to resign before taking office any position such as director, owner, board member, officer, or employee of a professional association, is not a member of the council or board of any other RHPA college, does not have a conflict of interest to serve as a member of the board or has agreed to remove any such conflict of interest before taking office, and is not a candidate in or already a member of the board for another electoral district. And what are the benefits of being a board member? Professional satisfaction, collaboration, and recognition. Assist CASAPO to better regulate in the current practice world. Enhance your professional profile. It's an opportunity to contribute to the professions, and there's compensation. Per diem honoraria and expenses are reimbursed. All board members are paid for attendance at meetings of the board, and they're also paid for meeting material review time and preparation for the time spent in training and preparing for meetings of the board and committees. And all travel expenses are paid by the college for in-person meetings in Toronto. The 30-day nominations period opens in early March. You'll receive an email from the registrar if you are in the district with open seats for election, and that email will include a link to the nominations page. Candidates must be nominated by at least 3 registrants who are eligible to vote in the same electoral district for which the candidate is nominated. You can nominate yourself, or a peer from your district can nominate you. As per CASAPO's bylaws, there are 75 days from the opening of nominations to the close of voting. And thank you for reviewing this information and learning about the roles that the college, its board, and board members play in protecting the public through the regulation of audiology and speech-language pathology professionals in Ontario.